Hey. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next edition of Coffee Tea, You and Me with Coach Powell and friends. We are here today to really celebrate and honor some of the greatest things that have ever happened in the world of human achievement and endeavor. We're going to be talking specifically about the second section of the RAPapproach concept, which I created 20 years ago. And we're doing that in light of the coming season. When you think about the coming season, you have to think about and recognize that this is a season where we are more likely to begin to think about how we honor and how we give and how we share with one another. If you look at the corner over here, you're going to see a lot of my fraternity stuff. And I have to say, I'm so proud to be a member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. I'm glad that the brothers are endorsing the projects and processes that allow me as a bigger and better business development expert here in Northern Virginia to weave in my professional expertise and my talents in a way that also helps expose our chapter great benefits of our chapter and the great benefits of belonging and being a part of the Phi Beta Sigma world. This week we honor our 100th year of one national program, our first national program. Our first national program was Bigger and Better Business. So every chapter, every region, every national part of our national organization, we have a Bigger and Better Business directors who are responsible for pushing these national programs out to the communities that we live in and are involved in and help and support the initiative of Bigger and Better Business. And there's tons of small little programs and initiatives underneath the helm of Bigger and Better Business. But this was the first program for Phi Beta Sigma. So when you think about it, as a national organization, we committed ourselves first to understanding the world and the ecosystems and the economic development opportunities that exist within our community so that we could enhance and improve and be a part of that experience. So that's the reason why people say, Sigma men are businessmen first, right? It's because Bigger and Better Business was our first national program. It was literally how we came into the world in terms of what we're going to do when we show up as Sigma men in the universe. Now, of course, later on, we adopted a whole bunch of other different programs and different ways to serve the community. But we first started as an understanding of how we wanted to create and develop more concepts around this area of business development, economic development, and the concepts related to it. So I'm glad that you all are here today. I'm glad that you all are participating. Feel free to add anything you want to add into the comments or anything like that. I see my boy, Coach James Bond, is in the audience. It's good to see you, Coach. It's always a beautiful thing to have your support and your encouragement. It feels good and it looks good, as a matter of fact. I don't look as good as you do, but I'm trying. So it's good to have so many people in the listening audience. And again, here's a good place to introduce yourself in the chat. If you haven't already done so, please introduce yourself in the chat, your business in the chat, anything that you've got going on that you want people to pay attention to. This is a business-friendly environment. We want to make sure that no matter where you are in business, because we understand the support that you need to really move and to really grow. And we want to try to lend and give that support. So definitely announce whatever programs you have or any books that you're selling or any events that you are sponsoring or going to that you want other people to pay attention to. Put that stuff in the chat. Don't be shy. Take as much information and pages as you want. Again, if you have any questions about anything, you can also put that information in the chat too. We're going to see that. We're going to talk about it. So next things that we're talking about, obviously, the next episode or the next edition of the RAPapproach, right? The RAPapproach is a program, again, that I wrote a while back ago, and I'm going to post that in the chat so everybody can get a chance to see it if you haven't already. But this is a program that I created, years ago. And the reason why I created it was simply because people weren't taking advantage of all of the good people stuff that needed to take advantage of in order to elevate our personal brands, our corporate brands, our individual brands. How do we show up when we're working, when we get the chance to work with people? And I love this because, one of the processes I learned as I was becoming the coach that I am today, right? As I work with Dr. Covey, and one of the things he shared with us, I'll never forget it, how important it is that we understand this concept. You manage systems, but you lead people. Now, when you lead people, how do you do it? What are the tools? What are the techniques? What are the strategies? Leaders need to understand what those are, and there are plenty of concepts and ideas that one could use to create um, a leadership philosophy or ideology, to practice leadership principles and so on and so forth. But I think none are more important than those we learn from the world of emotional intelligence. So I wrote it in the rap approach. I tried to make sure we captured as much as we possibly could of the emotional context. Now, RAP obviously is an acronym. RAP stands for respect, affection, and praise. And we're just finishing out the affection stages, right? So if you've gone back and you want to go back and really understand the concept of affection and appropriate affection and what you need, how it began, you probably need to go back to like episode 7 of this particular um, series, right? Because we're on episode 9 now. I think no, you want to go back to episode 6 or maybe 5, where we open up and talk about what appropriate affection is, what it looks like, how we define it, and so on. So we did that. And then the next one we talked about, the ancient concepts of what affection looks like and what it does for people. We went back to the Bible, the Torah, the tenets of Islam, all these things that we've always known. And then last week we talked about some of the practical applications of appropriate affection. Today, I'm going to give you all of the neurological benefits of appropriate affection and how you should share it. Now, I have to say this is a warning. When we talk about this stuff, we're not talking about touching anyone. We're not talking about approaching anyone with any unwanted advances, right? That's not where we're going. But a lot of ways, we tend to, when we talk about affection, we don't want to bring it into the workplace or the place where we are associated with one another or into our networks. And it's important that we actually do. And so when you hear the story that I'm going to tell you today, when you hear Jennifer's story, you're going to realize that there are simple techniques and simple strategies that one could use to share and generate appropriate affection and get all the benefits of having done so. Because kind of when you think about it, here's what happens. When people don't have appropriate levels of affection where they work or where they associate, where they play with one another, it is literally impossible for them to feel safe emotionally and then therefore give their best to that environment, right? When they know that the environment is toxic, when they know that the environment in the leadership doesn't respect them, and they know that the environment has a level of negative levels of support and they feel bad about it. When you give yourself completely and thoroughly to some mission or some organization that is not healthy emotionally for you, it takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on your makeup, your physical being. It takes a toll on everything. And so to reverse that, leaders and team members also have to know how to deal with and how to share affection appropriately. So let's get into the story. And by the way, if you guys have any questions along the way, I see my boy Bazil is out there. Good to see you, Bazil. Uh, I love Bazil. Bazil is one of my favorite people and one of my favorite networkers. And he is an absolute genius when it comes to this good stuff. And I gotta get a shout out to my boy James Bonds again too. Like, thank you very much. I really appreciate the love, man. And this is again what we're doing is a good way to demonstrate how appropriate affection can be. Acknowledge when someone says something or does something that you enjoy or you resonate with, and don't wait until the performance period. You know, do it now. Now, those of us who attended the church, or most churches, especially black churches, we have no problems with constant, ongoing reaffirming and reassuring techniques and strategies like saying amen or clapping or whatever. And if you see me and I know I couldn't, I'm always gonna have a smile on my face. Why? Because I want to give that positive energy out to people. I want to make sure people know that I'm engaged and I'm listening and I'm paying attention and I like what they're saying and I enjoy being around them. Right? You can do this. It doesn't matter whether you are in a virtual space or in a real public space. You don't have to touch anyone, right? And you don't have to leer or jeer at anyone or do anything inappropriate, but you can be affectionate and you can share affectionate behavior. And I'm going to show you how. Today, I'm going to show you not only how, but what the response is in terms of the neurological responses, how your brain works and how it functions when certain activities and exercises do happen. So here's Jennifer's story. Jennifer came to me and she's an architect. I got a chance to work with here in Fairfax County. Just a brilliant person, a wonderful soul. And our group, our team, they were already successful. They were already really, really successful. But Jennifer, in her gut, she knew that people simply weren't giving their best. They simply weren't doing all that they could do, but she didn't know why. And so after she took the assessments that I gave her, and one of the assessments I gave her on the RAPapproach, she really, really started to realize I'm coming up short in my leadership in certain areas, especially in those emotional intelligence areas of developing my teams and working with my teams. And so she was already known in the area for innovative designs and the ability to transform, urban landscapes and do amazing things. She built a thriving business with a talented team of architects and engineers and designers by all objective measure, right? So the money was rolling in basically, and the team was growing, right? However, the true success of her firm, it just wasn't in the architectural prowess or in the strength of the workplace or the culture. Working with me, she's able to determine and to create an environment where everyone could thrive and feel valued. Let's just take a stop right there. Everyone could thrive and feel valued. What if that was the goal in your organization, or one of the goals in your organization, to ensure, to empower everyone so that they could thrive and feel valued? How different would that be? So here's a couple of things that Jennifer did, and I'm going to share with you exercises that I work with her to help develop. One of the things she did was introduce gratitude journaling, right? For those of you who have heard it, it's really all about taking the time every day, maybe write down 2 or 3 things that you were really grateful for today. It helps you to be reflective and to ground yourself in what's good and what's going on. I mean, my wife and I, we have conversations every day if we can about what are the wonderful things that happened today. We have the conversation. But it's important not just to have that conversation, but to write those things down. So, it doesn't matter, junior designers, senior partners, everybody was encouraged through Jennifer to start a gratitude journal. Now, from that daily gratitude journaling, right? Each week they would take a few minutes to really jot down and reflect the things that they most appreciated about the colleagues that they get to work with in the workplace. That's all. Being able to write that down and jot it down. And then on Friday afternoons, what they would do during their team meetings, they would share these entries. And you have no idea the kind of resonance that happens when a group of people are sharing basically with one another how much they appreciate the joy and respect and responsibility they have towards working together on whatever the project is, whatever the process is, whatever they're doing, the fact that they're working together on it, the mission, the vision, the drive towards the goals that they're doing, all of that they're doing together. And when they show and share how much they appreciate one another regularly, consistently, week in, week out, the atmosphere of the meetings begin to transform the people as they express their gratitude. Right? You create a better atmosphere. The atmosphere feeds the people then feed the atmosphere. And then what you have is a massive sharing of gratitude with and for amongst one another. So what happens is the prefrontal cortex, that part of your brain that's responsible for your social behaviors and then your complex decision making, begins to activate and improve. This leads to more and enhanced feelings of appreciation and connectivity. It fosters a strong sense of belonging and teamwork. This is just one thing that Jennifer did. The second thing that Jennifer did, outside of inspiring people to do the gratitude journals and display, gratitude to each one another, is she began to conduct empathy workshops. When you understand the importance of empathy when you're dealing with people, no matter what level you're dealing with people. They could be leaders, they could be followers, they could be somewhere in the middle, peers, they could be investors, they could be stakeholders, they could be team members. It doesn't really matter. When you understand how empathy really, really works, and Jennifer began to understand that, with the help of my teams, literally, you develop a deeper connection with each other. you know, Maybe you practice role playing scenarios and they or practice active listening and empathetic responses to various situations that they put themselves in role play and in active situations, right? They begin to see how they can come out of role play and get into really active situations where they were dealing with things and try to deal with things with more empathy, try to deal with everything with a different response than they normally would come up to. Not that initial knee-jerk reaction, but a more nuanced response to one another. People begin to share their personal stories about challenges that they faced in the workplace. They began to be more vulnerable and more open during the sessions. This created a new found respect and understanding amongst the team members. Now, again, I promise you, I will tell you the neurological responses to this. What happens when you learn and teach and practice empathy, right? And active listening? It increases the level of oxytocin. Now, what's oxytocin? That's called the bonding hormone, the love drug, right? This is the thing that we all produce, and it's a chemical reaction that helps us solidify our social bonds and trust within the team. It enhances cooperation and mutual support. Super, super important that we learn how to do this and learn how to literally manufacture the feel good hormones and chemicals that we have as human beings to help us create more enhanced relationships with the other, to enhance cooperation and mutual support and mutual respect. It helps us feel safe. It helps us feel good about what we're doing. And we get to do it at a higher level because there's no risk of something going wrong or somebody letting us down or somebody not appreciating us appropriately, right? Not only did she do the gratitude journaling and empathy workshops, she started to put in recognition programs, formal recognition programs, above and beyond what they already had in terms of, your little employee of the week stuff or, stuff like, what we might typically do. You get a bonus for if you get certain points towards your professional review, blah, blah, blah. But this is the type of recognition program where other people could nominate their peers for acts of kindness and support. It wasn't about just doing your job. It was about how well you did your job in terms of being kind and supportive with one another as you did your job. So each month during this special ceremony, these nominations were read aloud and the nominated individuals were celebrated. And so imagine being in a room full of employees every month and you're having a party or function and somebody has nominated you to be recognized for the kindness that you shared, the support that you shared in an effort, right? When employees, when they did this, the employees, they felt seen and appreciated even more for their efforts and the positive behavior that was encouraged. This kind of rippled throughout the firm. Um, yeah, one of the junior architects, actually, Sarah, she said that she was recognized for staying late to help a colleague finish a project that they were working on, right? So basically, she could have gone home, time's up, right? But she stayed late to work with her colleague on a project that we're working on that was under deadline or under some level of scrutiny, and they needed to make sure that it got done and got done well. So her dedication and kindness was acknowledged, and this has inspired others to follow suit. Now, I'm not saying you want your whole team staying after work, or coming in on the weekends, but I will tell you, when they enjoy working with one another, it's kind of hard to hold them back from doing it, because they want to be encouraged. They want to encourage each other. They want to support each other. They want to be kind to one another. Now, when the neurological response here is when when people are recognized for their positive actions, they get a boost in what we call their dopamine levels, right? Dopamine, when it's enhanced and grown within a person, it forces feelings of pleasure, motivation, and reward, right? It helps you focus. It helps you really feel good about the things that you're doing. Positive psychologists have discovered through years ago how you get yourself into flow state, how you help others get into flow state is by increasing this dopamine response. And when I get into flow state, it seems like time just melts away. There is no time, because you so enjoying working together. You're so enjoying being in the same space. You feel so connected and emotionally rewarded in the moment that you don't even recognize how hard the work is. Even hard work becomes much easier with that dopamine response. It encourages you to continue, it encourages you to be supportive, it encourages you to be engaging, and it encourages you to collaborate. Another thing that Jennifer implemented was team building activities. She organized various team building activities where people began to bond outside of work, right? These kinds of projects are crucial to build trust and camaraderie. Sometimes you got to step away from the drive and the presence of and the pressure associated with being on deadline or within a concept. So, participating in things like going to escape rooms together, or creating an office Olympics, or, any kind of collaborative art project that the team might work on together. And certain teams were so she found out that certain people were interested in certain things. Some people were interested in athletic activities. And so they started doing something that allowed them to, do those things. And some people are interested in brain building activities, and some people are interested in more hands-on collaborative activities. And so they found the projects that the activities that people love to participate in, and paired them together, let them do those things together. And then it took it even one step further. They would come back from like a scavenger hunt, and where they got to solve complex clues and challenges, and they reported how it all went. Now, imagine this: you told two people who love playing racquetball to go play racquetball together, right? And they come back. What are they going to say about that experience? Right? They're going to say they had a great experience. And this was a team building exercise. They may not even known that they enjoyed, playing the same game or doing the same things or whatever, unless without those other programs that were put in place, the empathy workshops and the gratitude journaling and the neurological, all those things that you put in place help you bond and help you grow. But here's what happens up here in the brain. When you participate in fun and collaborative activities with people, it triggers a release of endorphins, and it increases serotonin. Serotonin is that chemical that we produce that really, really regulates our mood, and it fosters a sense of well-being and connection with people, right? And if anybody's like me, I'm an introvert. Sometimes people take a lot out of me, right? But the people that I love working with, people that I enjoy working with, they don't do that. I don't have that. In fact, you know, it's almost like I get in sync with those people emotionally. And whatever work we're doing, the things that we are doing, there's a sense of connection and well-being that comes along with being in the same space, whether it's a digital space, a virtual space, or an active live face-to-face space. And there's an increased release of endorphins and increased serotonin. I never get tired of the conversation. I never get tired of the work that we get to do because I so enjoy working with these people. Does that make sense? I hope that resonates with some of you who are out there listening. And it's super important that you think about these things when you're working with others, and you think about how you are going to engage in certain processes that will allow you and your team to actively express appropriate affection. I say that over and over again, appropriate affection. The reason why we get in trouble with affection in the workplace is because we don't understand what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, right? It requires a lot of listening and paying attention to one another to know what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, and to create a culture around you that is, in fact, the right kind of affection in the spaces where you get to work in. Now, there was a last thing here that Jennifer was able to do, and we were able to help her with, and I want to make sure I get this right, um, because when you are going to try to really, really have a workplace that thrives, you must understand that if you get some of this stuff wrong, it's going to work against you, right? And the thing that will prevent that from happening all the time, and this is what Jennifer was able to establish really well, is establishing an open communication channel. So let's talk about that. When Jennifer introduced regular check-ins, suggestion boxes, and anonymous feedback tools that ensure that everyone feel heard and valued, what these platforms did was it provided the people opportunity to voice their opinions, to share their ideas, express their concerns. Now, in and of itself, being able to share your opinions, being able to um, put in your suggestions, to express your concerns, already that relieves a lot of stress. And that's without having the feedback of knowing that, yes, not only did you express your thoughts and ideas and you shared your opinions, but they did not fall on deaf ears. In fact, the response, right, that Jennifer had to this feedback during team meetings demonstrated that their voices actually mattered, right? This kind of transparency and openness in communication can foster a level of support environment where employees feel confident and respected. So let me repeat to you what we helped Jennifer do and what Jennifer was able to do quite successfully to create a thriving team that not just produced well for the quarter, but produced well and will continue to produce well forever. She instituted gratitude journals. She instituted empathy workshops. She instituted recognition programs. She instituted team building activities. And finally, she made sure she did it all with an open communication channels, and making sure those channels are always there. In the end, these efforts paid off well. Like, the workplace culture at the firm became one of support, appreciation, and collaboration. The team was more engaged, motivated, and productive. Projects were completed with more efficiently, right? The quality of their work improved dramatically. So not only did you get efficiency, you got effectiveness, right? The firm's reputation for not only architectural excellence, but also for its positive work environment attracted top new talent and new clients. Drop the mic right there. Is there anything else that can happen that's better than that? We tend to, when we think about networking, we think about strategy or planning or anything, we think that, it's all about us, but it's not all about us. It's all about the team. It's all about how the team thrives together. Because when you're in a mode where the team is thriving together, nobody wants to let that go. Everybody wants to hang on. Everybody wants to go harder and harder because everybody is gotten to a place where they couldn't have even imagined getting there. And it's an active, ongoing surprise. It's like every day you walk into a new surprise that brings you joy, that brings you fulfillment, that brings you happiness. That's the kind of workplace environment I'm sure that every leader wants to try to create, right? But you don't know how to do it because we're not taught this stuff in B school. We're not taught this stuff um, when we're talking about marketing. All right, we're not taught this stuff. We're talking about HR, even. And we should be talking about these things everywhere where we are working with people. Hope you guys had a good experience. Next week, we're going to be introducing the next concept in the RAPapproach process. And that next concept is all about making sure that you understand what the RAPapproach is all about. We're talking about praise the next time we get together. We're talking about authentic praise and how to do it. We're probably going to talk about that for about 3-4 weeks. And then we're getting into the New Year's. We're getting into some planning. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are paying attention, there's a festival coming up, a webinar. I'm calling it a forum, but it's a webinar that I'm doing in a couple of weeks, maybe about a week and a half. It's on the 4th day of Kwanzaa, which is Ujama. Ujama is about cooperative economics. How do we work together to improve our careers? How do we work together to improve our communities? How we work together to improve the development of our entrepreneurial ventures, right? Using the thought processes of cooperative economics. So we're going to talk about that. This happens to be the 4th day of Kwanzaa, happens to be New Year's Eve, right? And so what a better way to bring in New Year's than to work with and talk about and learn about cooperative economics and set yourself up for a super positive 2025. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I'm looking forward to working with you. Hope you'll attend. Hope you'll participate. I want to make sure I put the information for this. Let me see where I can find it. There it is. I think I already put it in the chat once, but I'm going to post it again. Look in my comment, look in the private section chat. There we go. And this, by the way, is sponsored by, again, the men of Phi Beta Sigma and myself as we expose the right kinds of ideas to the right people in the right places. That's what we're all about. That's what we do. So here's the program. And I'm going to post it on LinkedIn as well. I think I've already done that. But if I haven't, I'll definitely do that. And I look forward to seeing you all, looking forward to sharing with you all. I know you're going to have a positive experience. I know you're going to learn a lot about what you could do to infuse your workplace, to infuse your business, to infuse your community with this idea of cooperative economics. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful holiday as we move forward in the season, and looking forward to spending time with you all. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you put your information in the chat. Make sure that you because if you put the question in the chat, we can answer it either online, maybe next time if we do it next Friday, or we can answer the chat after the fact. So it doesn't matter who the question is or where the question is coming from. Questions are always engaging; they're always powerful. So make sure you're asking the right kinds of questions. But when you ask the question, I might not be responding and give you an answer, but somebody else might. So don't feel free. Just when you ask the question, it's going out. And if you're watching this on Facebook, the question's going out on the Facebook community. If you watch it on YouTube, the question's going out in the YouTube community. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, it's going out to the LinkedIn community. And when I rebroadcast this episode, I'm probably going to rebroadcast it on Instagram as well. So you can still ask questions even on Instagram. So make sure that you don't keep that question to yourself about anything we talked about, anything we chatted about, or anything else that's going to help improve your business. The question that you don't ask is the answer that will never be given to you. and you'll never understand it and you'll never grow. So ask the question. Again, God bless you. Have a great day. I hope you had a great time. I know I did. And thank you so very much. Thank you, my boy Basil. I see you out there. Thank you, Coach. Where'd he go? Coach James, there he is, Coach James Bonds. Good to see you, brother. Anytime you guys want to be on the show, let me know, and I'll make sure that I bring you backstage and you get a chance to show up with me next Friday. It's just fine. God bless you again, and I'm out of here.